Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing as the USA, aka the United Sovereign Archduchy. Last episode we put Emperor Norton on the throne, and Emperor Norton saved the Indians from persecution. That's right, he saved the Indians from persecution. Now we're probably going to be trying to return the Indians to North America. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be passing multiculturalism, and because they don't discriminate, or they have closed borders now. No! Bengal has migration controls, but all these other guys have closed borders. No! This isn't how it's supposed to go. I thought they would all inherit Bengal's laws, which included migration controls, but since the Bengal... Okay, this is going to complicate us trying to get to 500,000 pops. The idea was that, I'll explain how it works with Bengal. Because they have migration controls, they allowed non-discriminated pops to leave. Their primary culture is Bengali, so all the Bengali pops can now leave and mass migration out to the USA. So this is exactly what we wanted, and so this kind of unlocks 50 million-ish pops available for our migration. However, we were hoping it would do this for all of India, but these guys are closed borders, so we're either going to have to subjugate and eventually annex them, or the Tamil people will not just migrate, to the USA. Maybe we can subjugate them and get them to change their laws, something like this. But this is unfortunate. Okay, so we might have to return to Operation Make China Leave. Unfortunately, game's starting to slow down, even in 1870 here, largely off of activities we've been engaged in. But in order for us to start getting the Bengali pop at the very least, we are going to have to pass multiculturalism, so this is next on the docket. After, satisfying this movement for propertied women, awesome that we have a movement here, so we're going to get rid of a bunch of radicals on the multiculturalism. And we had prepped, this guy. We had recruited and searched for this guy so that we could exile an Intelligentsia guy. Then our Intelligentsia guy just dies, so we don't even have to exile anyone. And he's an enlightened royalist, so now the Intelligentsia is big happy with us because we just passed monarchy to get Joshua Norton on the throne. So everything's coming up nice. In addition to that, we just got Prussia for free, which is, of course, also nice. They are a power. They are in our market, and we're going to see if we can maybe get them to form the North German Fed. I don't think they can, but especially because we would have to pull all these guys into the market, but maybe we can make some sort of moves like this. So let's actually start bankrolling these guys. We maybe are going to have to declare another rivalry. Loud card, big nice. Let's get our trade agreement back on with Russia. We also have fought Russia, and we fought Great Britain, and we still have great relations with both of them. So that's also super cool for us. We're also, in this, we released Ukraine. We will run a ton of, trade with them in order to maybe pull them into our market so that we can siphon off pops from them as well. A little bit of an update on New Granada, who we pulled into the market. For a while, we were siphoning off pops from them, but it looks like they're starting to stabilize a little bit here. So if we wanted to get the fully manifested North-South manifest destiny, we will have to incur a big chunk of infamy to go for New Granada. Every day, the international community wakes up living in pure abject terror of the Florida Men. That is the Army of Florida Men, which is our large conscript army that you don't have to conscript up in order to scare people. You just have to have the potential of the conscript. It's a 1340 stack army, and that is why that in this ongoing diplomatic action, revolutionary or the Japanese aristocratic revolt is more than willing to become our subject in order to avoid having to deal with the Army of Florida Men. They don't even want the potential of us siding against them. They just be like, hey, we'll capitulate. And so as soon as this comes on up, we'll side with one of the sides in order to get Japan as our subject. We might even be able to get regular Japan as our subject, so we'll take a little bit of a look at their laws. In particular, the law we would really want is to have them have not closed borders, but beggars can't be choosers, and so we will probably take a look at the clout. I suppose the Industrialists are a little bit better for us, and maybe with these guys we could pass homesteading with the regular Japanese shogunate and try and get off traditionalism and eventually try and get off the closed borders. This would help out quite a lot for the purposes of us going to 500 million, or half a billion pops. The United States is a vast and fortunate land, although sparsely populated. We must look beyond the seas, particularly to troubled Europe. I wonder why they're so troubled. For potential settlers to work in our fields and factories. I didn't realize that unlocking mutual funds, of course, got the Americas populated, but it do be like that. We're doing fine on our own? No. No. The promote European migration is available, promoting in the journal entry. Every incorporated state in Western America gets coming to America plus 25% migration attraction, and thank you very much. Now smell you later. We will be turning on publicly traded everywhere, for a variety of reasons. It overall will increase SOL. It will also add jobs, which effectively acts as a depeasanter. These are kind of the big ones, but we'll check up on that journal entry. Doesn't look like we have anything too crazy. Let's see in here. The new Colossus we're already moving towards, populating the American West. Ah, yes. So we can spend 100 authority in order to force a mass migration. And I don't even think this is worth it, because I think we're going to get the mass migrations anyways. And instead, I think we would rather than, trigger this journal entry, rather use greener grass campaigns. Like, for example, we are doing here in Lima. And Lima's population is doing just fine. They have a lot of attraction. And we would rather just, be able to targeted greener grass areas in order to force migration attraction. So this is what we're going to do. We also capitulated to this native uprising, which is, Sag, to some extent. We will also make sure we keep colonizing them. We really need to link up here, but we did it so that we could declare a play, because we only had 5 infamy before we got fighting over here. We also could not sway to the other side for it to become subject, because I think they were too powerful or they were too high a rank, but the revolution was not, so we'll be siding with the revolution and getting a free Japan subject. So we sided with something with the UK, but we're actually going to help them out because we would prefer the status quo UK, who loves us very much. We would prefer them to be the winners as opposed to this British religious revolt, who's probably not going to agree with us as much. They might be a theocracy. We're not going theocracy. We might, in fact, ban or do state atheism. But coming up here, we are going to pass multiculturalism, because good luck every single time. And this is going to be fantastic for us. Now, New Colossus completes, and let's just take a look. Let's just take a look at what we've done. If we come into the ledger and we look at mass migration attraction, we will see, look at this, 122, more than double the next guy, and the third guy is not even a real country, it's a fake country. And then if we do come one, come all, which we of course will do, this will jump up from 122. Look at all the mass migrations we're pulling in, and this is going to get even higher. Higher and higher and higher, and not only is it going to get higher, it's the fact that the Monday morning tick takes forever. It's up to 136, but it's not only this, it's that we can now get the Bengali pops, which are yearning to leave, we hope, soon. I think that they don't have enough turmoil, actually, in order for us to pull in this way. But we're going to be able to get everybody. Everyone is going to be eligible, and I'm expecting a mass migration to prove my point on this Monday, and if it doesn't, then that's okay too. It's okay too. But the point is we can get anyone. It's not just Europeans now, and so we will be getting a lot of other mass migrations now that we accept. And this is the critical one. You have to be on multiculturalism. You don't have to be on total separation. In fact, if we have an opportunity, we might go state atheism, because this is moving slow as molasses anyways. State atheism's probably meta is kind of what we're thinking, because or I guess we don't need to bolster these guys anymore, because if these guys are above 20% clout, we get plus 50% migration attraction. So if we take a look, and we saw that California was our very, very highest, right? If we take a look at their migration attraction, it's 300. That's 300. That's 3 with 2 zeros behind it, except it's 291. We're rounding. But we're getting settling the American West, coming to America, great power. I wonder if coming America goes away. If it doesn't, it just stays there. The New York, and now teaming shore from the Great Colossus event. And so this is like just absolutely insane. We're pulling in 1.36k migrants. I don't even think we have a mass migration. We're pulling that in without a mass migration, which is super nice. Also, part of why the game's going so slow is because we have tons of cultural communities and tons of pop fragmentation. And yeah, this is the super swimming in. So Pennsylvania pulling in 7k a freaking week. So we unlock investment banks, but in addition to the company, I actually think the urbanization is actually going to play quite nicely for increasing the arable land by increasing the number of urban centers we're getting in a lot of places. A lot of these places have no available employment, and by unlocking this, we increase the size of our urban centers, which is going to allow more of these guys to come out from being in the arable lands, which is going to further, drive up the migration attraction if these guys start to move out. Although to be fair, some of these migration attractions are so high, or the cap is 30, so a lot of the cap is reached in a lot of spots, but this will be fine. Now, as far as companies go, we have some decisions. We can put in the Kaiping Mining Company, which is super nice. I don't think we want to put it in just quite yet, and in fact, we might actually be hanging out and not putting in a company immediately. We do have a lot of gold, so the gold is a little bit attractive. We don't have a lead company, so some sort of lead is attractive, but I think that, well, to be honest, generic home goods doesn't look too terrible. Let's double check. I'm pretty sure we slotted out the wood company, if I'm not mistaken. We had slot out the wood company. Yeah, we could slot the wood company back in. There's a little bit of choice, but this would allow us to build a lot more glass. It's somewhat tempting to go for the clothing because we're starting to build a lot of clothing. We could go for the steel conglomerate. Maybe we just actually just want to chill out and not do a company just quite yet, because there's not really the exact type of company we would want that is available. This company is decent. Yeah, maybe we just wait. I mean, what we want is either this or Standard Oil, or both, to be honest. And I think that, the state construction efficiency would be really nice. Let's see if we almost have that researched up. We're nowhere near electrical generation. So I think that actually what we're going to do is, well, we're kind of close to... We could just wait for a NAT spread and hopefully discovery on this, but the Standard Oil is not going to be that useful because we don't have that much oil demand. So I think that what we're going to do is we're going to get the most construction and usefulness out of the glass and the furniture manufacturers. Let's establish this, and we are understanding that this one's going to be a little temporary. What we're going to do on top of that is we're going to come in here and we're going to add railways all along the Mississippi. We're just going to come in here at the back of the queue, add railways in every spot of the Mississippi, and then also we're going to come in here and come on the industry, and we're going to add a furniture manufactory to every spot on the Mississippi as well. I think we forgot Tennessee with the railroads. We'll smack them with the railroads at the front of the queue. And the reason we're doing it along the Mississippi is because they do get the 5% mapping modifier, so it's going to be nice to supply the rest of our country with furniture. And then also in here, we are going to come into to the industry. I'm not sure if we have a spot where we have a high level. Yeah, we don't really have high level stuff yet, but we're starting to work on it a little bit in New York. So why don't we just 31? We don't have economies of scale of 51 yet. We're still only in 1872, even though it feels like we've been playing this run for some time now. And so we'll go to economies of scale, we'll put on auto expand, and then in New York specifically, we'll also crank on the water tube boiler because we are starting to make a little bit of an adjustment here in New York in that we are encouraging manufacturing. We have a lot of authority, our edicts are cheaper because Joshua Norton is ambitious. It would take the ambitious, charismatic man such like Joshua Norton to, make this thing happen, have monarchy in the USA. And so we are going to start valuing edicts a little bit more, in addition to not really wanting to be too heavy on the consumption taxes. We're also trying to target, pull pops into places like Lima, which are a little bit rough on the migration attraction, but overall are going to be pretty good. Well, state construction efficiency is a bad modifier, but we have a ton of resources here. This is why we're trying to pull people into Lima. We're trying to pull people into Transvaal as well. At the very least, get them to stop leaving, because they've been leaving quite a bit. And if we can get mass migrations to there that also affect Free Stat, this will be nice. Otherwise, we'll have to move the edict. But this is kind of what we're doing in regards to making all this work and pop off. Ooh, look at our freaking loyalist count. Oh, baby. Big nice. And this is going to get even better as we start to adjust and switch to consumer goods quite a bit more here. And if we take a look at the population, for example, I don't think furniture is very cheap. It's not very cheap at all. And so this is all going to help out quite a bit. We'll make sure in the trade, along with this strategy, we want to make the furniture that is the regular furniture as cheap as possible, so we'll also make sure to export the luxury furniture, and hopefully this all helps out. These guys have been a little bit sticky about joining our market. We can check. We have been bankrolling a lot of these boys, and you can see that we could use an obligation to invite them. I'm not sure we want an obligation. We don't want to get stuck in a defensive pact with these guys, and I think they're fairly likely, and it does look like, okay, so we can invite Orissa to the customs union. We'll stop bankrolling Orissa, and then with Orissa in, we will now have access to Owada in order to trade with them, because we can trade through Orissa now, which is going to be useful. So we will add a whole bunch of trade with Owada in order, right? Or do they have to, we have to wait for them to accept? Customs union decline. Bro, you said you would accept. What is this about? What's this about? Come on, what's this about? It says you'll accept. Okay, so now we can trade with these guys, because now we can trade through Orissa, and so we will also run a whole bunch of trade with these boys. We notably have taken efforts to get Hanover into the customs union, because we do want Prussia to have access to the eastern portion of their country. If you take a look, they don't have access now, but with Hanover in, I said with Hanover in, I said with Hanover in, with Hanover in, oh my god, what is this? What is this, bro? It said you said yes, and now it still says you say yes, and what is this? We have to ask twice? Alright, Hanover now accepts, and now we have the big market, the big nice. We're probably going to try and see if we can liberate Holstein and Schleswig for the purposes of maybe making North German Fed pop. I'm not 100% sure how this event works. I think they have to not be a subject, and they're a subject of ours, so I don't think this works. But also, it's kind of freezies to just, like, liberate some guys. We've been staying under 25 infamy this entire time. You know, just standard nice American practice. But look at the size of our market. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Alright, well, apparently we're going to be getting all of Germany under our thumb, because Austria-Hungary has somehow managed to decay to a great power, or a major power. Man, what is the... It's wild. This is wild. Bengal is a great power, Spain's a great power, and somehow Austria-Hungary doesn't make the cut. Well, we're going to invite them into our customs union, which is going to be tremendous. We're going to first take on their debt, which is just 2 million, which is like a drop in the bucket to us. And then we are going to invite them to the customs union using that obligation, which is going to be tremendous for us, because we will be able to suck off their pops nicely. Now, here's the problem, or here is a problem for us. We also want to see if there's anyone else we can get in the customs union. We were checking before to see if anyone would join the customs union, precisely because we're about to go high infamy. So we could give an obligation to Hybridad. And they would be willing to... they're almost willing to take on the debt. This is unfortunate. We really would like to get Hybridad into the customs union, but without having to use the obligation, because we don't want to get stuck in a defensive pact with them. And the thing is we think that we're going to go up to a pretty high infamy count here, or at least mid-20s, because we're going to take something off of Qing. So let's just take something off of Qing, though. So we will open up with... ending the trade agreement, which will drop them down to neutral, so now we can actually go after something. And what our paradigm is going to be, we need to cause maximal damage in hopes that the Heavenly Kingdom comes about. And so I think we're going to take one province. I think we are going to take Fujian. To be fair, for our goal, we should just take a really, really high... population province. So let's see, Xi'an, Chongqing. Chongqing is maybe okay to take, but I think we're going to release them, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and split them in half this war, but we're going to have our primary war goal be one that is on Fujian, I think. Okay, so conquer state Fujian. This is going to give us 22 infamy, and we will also make sure to force the diplomatic play. Although it doesn't matter, because apparently they wouldn't have backed down to that anyways. And then what we will do is we need to release Xi'an, Chongqing, and Yunnan all together. So we're going to see who we can try and liberate in order to cut their market in half and hopefully cause a whole bunch of turmoil. We're also going to move basically all of our troops on over to this and start mobilizing. I think we'll bring the Florida men, but we'll just have them sit here instead of actually mobilizing them. We might mobilize them later, though, depending on how things are looking. Great Qing is got kind of a smaller military than us anyways, without us using conscripts, so I think we're going to try and win it without the use of any sort of conscript. Alright, it's looking like we may, in fact, use the Florida men. And the Florida men are here and ready to go. We will probably be trying to land as well down here. We have this Bodine secession. This is really not a big deal. Let's see where it's at. It's over here. Okay, we'll send a small little army. I think we'll send the South America army to go deal with this. That should be just fine. And I just wanted to point out, we are using, with as many of these guys as possible, we are going to be advancing with pillage or heavy barrage. This is why the Florida men, in fact, are not advancing at all. We have them all on defense because none of them are going to be using barrage or pillage, and we're just going to let them push through. I think that we'll not even have a strategic objective here, and we'll just let them push and, you know, just rampage through China for a little bit and see what happens. This should cause an enormous amount of turmoil for the Pops, which is going to be good. How much do we need? Okay, so we'll work on getting the bureaucracy up. This is a current state of affair of our institutions, really valuing health system and workplace safety much more than normal because we're trying to run the pop number up as high as possible, and these will both help out quite a bit on that front. But yeah, we're about to have ourselves a little bit of a war. We're about to do a little bit of a rampage, and the Florida men are here to stay, or to come, or rampage, etc. So we pass 100 million pops here, so we're 1/5 the way there. Of course, growth is exponential, so we're really more than 1/5 the way there. We also sided with them, the new Great Britain. We weren't able to save the old one in exchange for a... We probably should have just stayed in there, but in exchange for a trade agreement, which is going to be nice. It's going to give us ticking positive relations with them, and we'll maybe be able to sway in a good way for something later. We couldn't sway for anything too crazy because we were already involved in a conflict, but here, we're not actually looking to get anything useful, which is why we're pushing into Yunnan here, just looking to cause as much damage as possible. We'll probably look to push into Guangdong as well, kind of waiting for anyone to stop pulling off the front here. Let's wait for this battle to finish. I think we're going to land over it. Well, so we're actually using these guys to lead all the troops in the Florida man army. See, the army of Florida men, they have no one pushing, but they allow borrowing on offense, and so we just, this 20 stack, right, is just leading the men from this other battalion, and they're kind of acting like this giant troop battery, where even though they don't have any sort of pushing capability themselves, they're more than willing to do this sort of thing. Do we want the nihilist? Maybe not in there. I think we would actually like someone who could actually push in there. So we'll probably recruit up the generals a little bit, but this war is going pretty good for us, not for China. Alright, so we dust up Qing quite a bit. Hopefully this causes them enough problems that they... Well, actually, so here's the thing, is when we were putting in war goals, I thought we could release some of these, like Xi'an, and then I didn't see the release on them, and so this was a bit unfortunate because we had a plan for completely cutting off their market access, and then now we couldn't do it. So, it looks like maybe in another war we could go after Eastern Hubei and Hunan, and then maybe Zhejiang in terms of releases and really isolate their market, but for now, their market's not isolated. We do have this play with France, though, where they're going after Bastar, who is in our side of our market. Generally, we would want to protect them. However, if France controls Madras and Travancore, to be fair, we own part of it, as well as Antara, then they can migrate. They currently cannot migrate out of Bastar because these guys have closed borders. France does not have closed borders, so we would actually kind of prefer that France own this stuff. And so what we'll do is we'll yo-yo sway to France and see what we can get. We can get a bankroll, we can get transfer French Senegal, which is a little bit appealing. French Senegal is pretty beefed up. We could go for transfer states and see, that's a lot of stuff. We could get stuff like French Rhineland. Nothing too crazy. I guess we could go for Algiers, to be honest. Algiers, Constantine's going to be considerably better. They won't give us Constantine, though, so that's unfortunate. let's scroll down and see what else we could get. We could get Pondicherry. I don't think any of this is... We could get Switzerland. Jesus. To be fair, Switzerland's not... Okay, so Switzerland is psychotic and it's a bit insane and, okay, it's a bit of nonsense. But this would have market access, East Switzerland. We would have market access here. And the reason being is Austria-Hungary is in our market. So it's not that insane, is it? It's not that insane, is it? So I guess we just take a look at, okay, well, what is French Senegal? What do they look like? How much pop do they have? They have 4 million pop. This is decent. We would be siphoning it off. We could annex them. We could use that to get access to Sokoto later. This seems maybe okay. If going for French Senegal. So the other one is we could also go for a bankroll, which would just crush France's hopes and dreams of everything. And then, yeah, those are kind of the ones. I don't think we're gonna ask for anything else. So the bankroll would crush them for 5 years. Senegal would, give us Senegal. Let's go for. I think we go for French Senegal here, right? No, bankroll first. Bankroll first. We can get French Senegal later, but we're transfer on to over the other side, and now will be fighting Best Star. France accepts. What will you accept here? What are they trying to offer us? They will give us conquer Mauritania. I don't think so, my guy. If we could make them a subject, we would do this. That way we could just annex them later. But for now, this is going to be kind of the best we could do, and we'll look for, other stuff we could spend our infamy on, because this is not our primary play. It's just going to give us a load of money. Bengal joined in this Bastar nonsense, and so we decided that we want to stay in and actually fight here instead of just taking the bag from France and running. But just to clarify how big this bag is, France is paying us, the bankroll of nearly 400k, and it also corresponds to how much money we're making, so we could just crank this up and then squeeze even more out of them. We also joined in to help out Austria against San Marco. Normally we would have taken San Marco as a subject here, because this was available. However, Austria-Hungary is in our market, and they're paying us a bankroll, so we're just gonna hang out in that one. We're landing over here, and we're just gonna look to full occupy Bengal, cause some devastation, and hopefully cause some mass migrations here, because they do have open borders. This means that they are eligible to exodus, at least the Bengali pop. The English, they have to stay because they don't have open borders. I lied. They have initiative solved. The truth hurts. They don't have open borders. In fact, they have, migration controls. So the English have to stay, but the Bengalis can go wherever they want. So we get a nice peace treaty for France, getting a whole bunch of stuff for them. Now they have almost all of this. Bastar, maybe we can bankroll and get them back into our custom. Wait, they're still in our custom? How are they still in our customs union? Will it really not boot them if they are still within the window? That's crazy. So they're still within the window where they can't normally leave a customs union, so they're just still in our customs union, which is big lulz. But now we're expecting to see quite a bit of turmoil and quite a bit of mass exodus from Andhara and the likes of these as soon as there's a mass migration, which will roll pretty quickly here. We're also seeing, we also got involved in this conflict here, which is going to be really nice for us as well, because we sided in on to these guys' side in exchange for them becoming our subject, which is super nice. And they also wanted to take Bahia, so they're going to take Bahia. Bahia's got about 1 million pops, and so between all that's going to be like another 3.5 million. Kind of for free. Brazil still has 4 million over there, so Brazil's still relatively big, but we're slowly chipping away at South America. In terms of looking at our market, it's kind of just Brazil and then Ecuador, and then these guys aren't our subject yet. We are siphoning off pops from them though, so they will be cheaper to go after at some point in time later, as well as if they eventually rev, we could maybe side along beside them. We also bought this from them. I'm not sure if we covered that, but we did buy that, and we did build the Panama Canal. We forgot to subsidize it, which of course you need in order to get it fully up and running, generally speaking, and even then it can be a little bit rough. We could use edicts to try and promote migration here, and maybe that's something we want to do. I think we're going to incorporate Panama even. to help it get some more migration, just to get Panama up and going. And eventually we do want to incorporate Panama in its entirety. But yeah, things are going pretty well. These Indian pops are now French pops, which is going to make them soon Indian pops. And we're still getting north. Okay, so now we have kind of an exodus here. Madras is sending them fresh to the bunch of French stuff, but also Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut. Okay, so we might have missed the mass migration, but I think they're mass migration exodusing from here, which is perfect for us. Exactly what we wanted to force by giving this territory over to France, because France allows them to move around. So we immediately reduce their autonomy, and we are going to be well on our way to annexing them, you know, fully integrating South America. I did want to point out that in quite a bit of silliness, I keep on noticing we've forgotten to pass free trade, or I have forgotten to pass free trade, and then feeling really dumb about it, but we're in the middle of another law, and then I'm like, oh, we'll get it later, and we just still haven't passed free trade. We're doing that now. But anyways, this episode, we largely looked to rough up Qing quite a bit. I think we succeeded. I don't know to what extent they are anywhere near having a Heavenly Kingdom pop. I don't think that they are. I think that they've chosen to do the events that don't give them or minimize the Protestant presence in their country, because they're only present in these two states, Guangdong and Shaozhou, unfortunately. Yeah, we don't see them anywhere else, and so I don't think that they're going to end up having the Heavenly Kingdom, and without the Heavenly Kingdom, we're going to have to try and figure out other ways to try and get up to 500 million pops. I think it's still definitely doable. Stuff like letting France take a chunk of this, even though they're part in our customs union, is probably a good example. Also, just us kind of going after and annexing quite a few guys is also going to be useful, because we have an absurd amount of migration attraction still. And this is, you know, the point of this run was really to show off the mass migration attraction and how OP it is, and it is quite crazy. We are pulling in so many pops. We have an average of 126, and you can see that of the world's mass migrations, we're getting most of them. So we're pulling in a lot of pops, but you know, what has ended up being kind of more the story than the migration is the army of the Florida men, which is that we just saber rattle with these guys whenever anything comes up, and since they view us as being so powerful, even though we are not actually raising them up, the enemy is willing to concede a whole lot, and through this we've gotten kind of just a lot of free stuff. We also, we need to put in some interests. Oh, I guess we kind of have interests everywhere. And so this is how we've been proceeding. We're about to get malaria prevention, so we're basically going to have the entirety of Africa to ourselves down here, which is going to be super, super nice. Yeah, like in my head, it's like 1900, and it's mainly 1900 in my head because this is the speed we're playing at. But we're not in 1900. We're at 1875, and this is the state of affairs of the world, and we're cranking up pretty hard. So, anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and other than that, including the notification bell. But other than that, have a good day.